Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope we're doing well, and today I'll be doing a review of The Matrix Resurrections. Oh boy, there is so much to say about this movie. And number one is I wish I could get my time back. I will be going into some spoilers pretty early on because you kind of have to talk about this movie in full. But if you don't care about spoilers, then you can watch most of this video. For those that do care about spoilers, I will let you know when I'm about to jump into some spoiler talk before diving into my review and thoughts of this film. Please make sure you smash that like button, light up that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure you're subscribed to the channel with that bell notification turned on. That way you know every time a new video or live stream goes live on the channel. So I'm actually recording this right after my most recent Spider-Man No Way Home box office, and where Spider-Man No Way Home, and I would go by extending this also to Ghostbusters Afterlife, is nostalgia done right, is paying respect to what came before and having some really cool, awesome moments that make fans happy. The Matrix Resurrections does basically the opposite of that. And so I'll speak in a most general sense. The plot of this film is incredibly convoluted. It's incredibly messy. It is very in your face. It's almost as if they think they're being really smart with how they're presenting their ideas and how they're presenting their story, but in reality, it's coming across as just so on the nose that you end up just thinking to yourself, who would actually buy into any of this? And why is this the story that just had to be told? We had the first three Matrix films, of which most people say there's only one Matrix, or at the very least one good Matrix film. Why is it that you had the need to make this film unless it was for either, one, a cash grab, which is obviously one of the reasons why Warner Brothers is doing this project, and two, to try and rewrite your history by trying to essentially claim that certain things that were talked about in the first films and how you interpreted those things from the first films are actually wrong, and how basically that there was this messaging that was there all along that was just a secret message that wasn't going to be revealed until a little bit later. So I'll jump into that in just a second, but I guess I can talk about just some of the good and bad in a general sense. Story is just not very good. The acting is fine, I guess. Keanu is being Keanu in the film, so if you like Keanu, I guess that you'll like moments when he's on screen. You also have, the actress that plays Trinity back in the film as well. So again, there is that. Again, was it Carrie Ann Moss is her name? You also have people like Christina Ricci in the film, Jada Pinkett Smith in the film, John McGrath playing a villain. John McGrath, I thought, actually did a pretty good job playing a villainous character. Neil Patrick Harris also plays a villainous character as well, and it's like, okay, I guess that's fine. And I'm also really sad because one of the lead women in the film, the one who has the blue hair, is actually an actress that I like a lot. I think it's Jessica Henwick. She is someone that I first discovered watching The 100, and then she was also in the film Love and Monsters, which I actually really liked from about a year or two ago. So I was very sad that was the character that she ended up playing, and just how cringe of a character it ended up being, because she's actually a really talented actor. So she does everything she can with the script that she's given, but she's given just a pretty pretty bad script. The cinematography, I guess, is okay. The visual effects are decent at times, and then at a lot of other times are downright cringeworthy, because visual effects that may have looked cool back in the day, back in '99 when the film first came out, don't really necessarily go as well today. And it's not even necessarily the actual visual effect itself. It's more of how it's playing out, right? The typical Matrix visual effect, the typical Matrix style slow motion, that is kind of an outdated style. It's kind of an outdated action sequence, that was kind of overdone because of the success of a film like the first Matrix, and also the subsequent films that were just not very good. So I think a lot of that really just works against the movie. And as far as direction is concerned, it's very clear that the Wachowski in charge of this project had a very clear message that he wanted to get across, and he wanted to really push down that message down everyone's throats. It's interesting because you're hearing some people calling this film, for instance, Tim Pool is, kind of half jokingly saying that this is a conservative film. And I think I can understand why you could easily conceive of that, or why there might be some crazy people out there that might try and kind of hate this film because might be some so-called conservative, points of the movie. But if you're actually paying attention, it's very clear that this is not in any ways that kind of a movie. So just, again, overall, in a general sense, I would give this film I would give this film a D minus, and the only reason why I'm not even going into the F territory, even though I think that this film would absolutely deserve it, and why it's just the D minus territory, is because of the fact that Keanu is in the film, and because I do like Keanu in the film, and I do like just Keanu as a general person, and I know whatever money he's getting for this, he's going to be giving to charity. So you know what? For that, I will give this film a little bit of a higher grade than an F, which is what it deserves, and give it a D minus. So you can find this film in theaters or on HBO Max. No one's going to be going to see this in theaters, though, because, again, this is not a respectful of the fans' franchise. It's not a respecting of the fans' film, and this is not a respecting of the fans' director. So the director going now by Lana Wachowski, right? The original project, going into some spoilers now, the original project was done by the Wachowski brothers, and then they both decided that they were women. And again, they're still biologically the Wachowski brothers, and so I will still refer to them as that. Again, if legally they change their name to Lana Wachowski, that's fine, but biology is what it is, and if that triggers you, then hey, science is science, and facts don't care about your feelings. And that's kind of what the basic idea of this film is, and how it's trying to present itself. It's trying to present itself as a facts matter more than feelings kind of narrative to it, which is, I think, why some might try and say that there's this seemingly conservative bent to it. But in reality, what it's trying to do is it's trying to say that it's the feelings that one has that makes up one's reality, and so therefore they become facts, which, of course, anyone with a brain knows is complete and utter lunacy. As it says here from the summary, the Matrix Resurrections returns to a world of two realities, one everyday life, the other what lies behind it. To find out if reality is a physical or mental construct, to truly know himself, Mr. Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. So basically the film opens up with him being, and this is just how on the nose this film is and why I think this movie sucks story-wise. He is a video game developer for a company called Binary. And I know you're going to be thinking, oh yeah, binary code. Yeah, but we know very clearly from this film that there is very clearly in this film a trans allegory and a trans undercurrent. They try and claim that it existed in the first film, but we all know that's complete bunk. We know now that they tried to rewrite it after the fact. So again, he's working for a company called Binary, and he is well known and famous for being the creator of the Matrix video game, which was a trilogy video game of which there are clips of even shown throughout the movie, and it's supposed to be a video game even though it's clearly clips from a movie, right? The movie. So trying to be very meta in that way. And basically they come out and say that, Warner Brothers wants to make a new trilogy. They want to make a new trilogy of Matrix films. They actually say, Warner Brothers, in the movie, they actually say a Matrix trilogy, and they actually say they want to make another Matrix film to make more money. They literally are so on the nose with it, and again, the mindset I'm sure that they have is, look how clever we are, look at how meta we're being, but instead it just plays as cringe because you're like, this is not clever. This is not clever. You're making a fourth film in a franchise that, again, no one was asking for, especially after the last two films, and you're going to go in this direction with it? I mean, if you wanted to make this just a complete comedy, okay, like this may have worked as a fan film, but this isn't a fan film. It really is, like the way in which it's presented, the way in which the ideas are, it's almost as if basically the people over at the Mary Sue decided to come together and decided to write a movie script. This is the script that they would write. Like, this is the exact concept that they would probably come up with, because as the name implies, right, with the company being Binary, there's a line where the blue-headed girl, as I said, actress I like, she actually even says, right, because there's this whole attempt in the film to try and take back the red pill, blue pill, right, because the red pill, that's been claimed and taken by conservatives, when in reality it's not conservatives, it's just people in general, right? There is reality, right? Taking the red pill means you're accepting reality, you're actually finding out what is real, right? You're looking behind the veil, behind the curtain, right? It's the allegory of the cave, right? Which is the Matrix has been a total ripoff of, right? Is the allegory of the cave from Plato. So it is very clearly hey, I'm going to escape from the cave and see what's really going on. It's taking the red pill, where blue pill is, hey, I'm just going to stay and accept everything as true, even though it's not, right? I'm happy to live in complete oblivious, lack of reality. And so that's what it's always been. It's never been a conservative or a liberal thing, and yet that is what they've turned it into. And so there's actually now even like interviews coming out where they said that they actively tried to attempt that. Like, that's actually something they wanted to do. And so they do that by basically mocking the entire prospect. So they say, there's a moment where there's fake, where there's, a fake character in the film, because obviously, they couldn't get Lawrence Fishburne back. And you know what? Kudos to Lawrence Fishburne for not doing this project. So they try to get a Morpheus back. So there's some random dude playing Morpheus. Again, doesn't make any dang sense at all, especially since there's clips of Morpheus throughout it. And obviously some will explain, well, he's a computer program now and he's not a real person anymore, and so therefore that's why he looks no, just stop. Like, it's stupid, it's ridiculous. But there's another moment in the film where he has to make the choice again of a red pill, blue pill. And so there's a moment where the blue-headed girl, of course, the blue-headed girl, says something like, I thought it was always silly that, to make a binary choice like this when everything is so much more complicated, blah, 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 blah. So basically trying to, again, turn everything into I'm rejecting this binary nature that exists in the world, even when you look to computer code and data, zeros and ones, binary, guess what? Biology works in a very similar way, everybody. It's amazing that people have to now hate science, but it's very much an attack on that, right? It's an attack on that concept, saying, everything's not just a binary thing, right? There's so much more. Even the summary, right, says it, right? Find out if his reality is physical or a mental construct. And there's different elements of the film that definitely play into that, where again, there's very clear agenda-driven drivel throughout the entirety of it, trying to, again, create this trans allegory, this trans narrative, right? Trying to create all of this nonsense, all while giving us a story that is trying to, bank on the emotions and bank on the nostalgia, but then subverts it. So whoever it was who in their review compared this to The Last Jedi or mentioned The Last Jedi in the same sentence was spot on, because that's exactly what this film is. It's The Last Jedi of the Matrix universe, and I would argue that this is much worse than The Last Jedi, because at least The Last Jedi had visual effects that for the most part looked pretty good. At least there was some stuff going for it, at least from a technical standpoint, though the story sucked. This film doesn't really have anything going for it other than Keanu and the charity that I know that he's going to do with the money that he got from the film. So this movie is all about that. Not to mention, it's all about basically trying to rewrite the history of the entire project, saying Neo wasn't actually the one. And in fact, no, it's not a oneness, right? There's actually a duo here. So Trinity is now raised to the level of oneness as well, meaning it's them together. That is what has always been the problem. It's not Neo as the one, right? Can't have the white savior mentality, right? No, it's got to be both of them together. And who is it that at the very end of the film we find out can fly? Oh, Trinity. Trinity can fly. So there's a part of the film where Keanu tries to fly and he can't. Neo can't fly. And then all of a sudden they're falling, they're jumping and everything, and she starts to fly and she saves him. That's right. She saves him. And at the very end, it's she that's in the driver's seat and he's kind of like her backup, fighting against the Matrix, saying, we're going to remake this world, maybe put a rainbow in the sky. Yeah, I'm sure that had no symbolism in it whatsoever. And then they're flying away together. So he's able to fly at the very end. But again, this is very much a Last Jedi, even Force Awakens attempt of a reboot of a franchise, and it seems like it is utterly failing. Obviously, HBO Max, I'm sure, might be seeing some numbers there, but we're not getting any reports as of yet. At least last time I checked, we were not getting any reports of any box office for this film. Oh, there we go. We actually do. $6.4 million. Okay, good job. Good job. You made $15 million so far. Oh, wow. What a hit. What an incredibly important film. I don't know the actual budget to this film yet, but I have to imagine it had to be north of $150 million or so. So this film is set to be a massive flop, whereas critics are giving it, 64. I trust Metacritic a little bit more because of their metrics, and they do explain more clearly how they come up with their numbers. The average score for reviewers of fans is a 4.2 out of 10. So fans are very much not liking this. Reviewers are very much mixed on the prospect. And as you can see, 133 negatives, 82 positive, 44 mixed. So very much, clearly, much more in the mixed to negative category. It's kind of amazing, actually, that it says close to 4.2 with these many negative reviewers. And again, I'm sure that they are going to try and, make arguments that, oh, well, this is a film, where, Lana is finally becoming the woman that she's always wanted to be. And it's like, no, he's just a guy who's trying to rewrite his own history. He's just a guy trying to reclaim his own franchise for his own desire and his own politics and his own agenda, so much so that his other brother didn't even want to come back for the project. And that should have been kind of the first sign that there was going to be some issues with this. So all in all, this film is terrible. As I said, give it a D-. I don't recommend anyone waste their time with this film. It's an hour, it's 148 minutes, so it's a little over 2 hours long, and it's just, again, it's really just not worth the time. And it's really sad because it's a waste of the acting talent. It's a waste of an attempt that could have been, well done, right? Looking at films like Spider-Man No Way Home and looking at films like even the newest Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is able to, bank on nostalgia and is able to respect nostalgia to the point where you have Ghostbusters Afterlife very close to breaking even and very clearly in a category where it can make that money back on Blu-ray and 4K sales. And then you also have Spider-Man No Way Home, which is set to make $1 billion by Christmas. So we're looking at a situation where we know what can happen when you make fans happy. This, again, the only person I can think about this being for is Lana Wachowski, and again, the trans community / the people working over at the Mary Sue. But even at the Mary Sue, I feel like they would also have some issues with this film. But what are y'all's thoughts about it? Again, there's so much more that could be said about this film, and I'm sure that I triggered some people. I'm sure that maybe even YouTube is going to be like, oh, you're showing hatred towards... No, I'm not showing hatred towards anyone. I'm just stating biological fact. But in the end, what are your thoughts? Do you think this film is any good? Do you think that this film's going to be successful? I don't see it. I don't see how anyone could really make that financial argument. It's made only $15 million in the first couple of days of its release. And I don't see anyone who would actually want to see it. And really, one of my biggest issues, too, is with this poster. I mean, this poster looks like it was a fan poster, and it was someone who was not a very talented fan. So, yeah, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. Please make sure you smash that like button, light that fire button. I'm sure I'll be getting a lot of bots and angry people and haters all attacking me for some of my comments that I made. But, again, I'm just being honest and in certain cases just stating biology, and some people just don't like that, especially when it comes to The Matrix and its attempt to try and fight the binary system out there. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You're all amazing and beautiful people. I'm pre-recording this, and so this should be releasing on Christmas Eve morning, unless there is other news that comes out box office-wise that I might need to record on the fly. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas, a blessed rest of your Advent as well, and as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my December Patreon Subscribe Star and Locals members: Animation Commentator Brandon, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Dolores Ed, Dion, Father Christopher Miller, Hail to You Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Hannibal Grimm, Harold Francis, Inflamed Wood, Jacob Juice, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Gomer Kyles 79, Laura, The Modern Major General's Story, Mike Jackson ×4, Mitch Dunaway, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody, Mondo Spieler, On to June, Orange Chat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Priscilla Hall, Rosetta Ullen, Stan Andrian, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, and Tina Bojan, and of course, the Empress of the Universe, Tina B. Thank you very much for being my Patreon members. And for my Subscribe Star members, UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, Stan 4, John B., Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss / the new number 2, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. Thank you very much for supporting me on Subscribestar. And to my 4 members over on Locals.com, Kara Tharp, UAB Mad Dog, once again, Mike Jackson, Bifford a Hobbit, and Robert Barnes. Thank you for supporting me on Locals. And if you want to have your name shouted out at the end of every video and live stream, check out the top link in the video description below. It's called Willow, or w.lo, Willow link. It'll bring you to all of my social media platforms and also to all of the various other locations that you can support the channel. You can get access to things like giveaways, where I do giveaways of 4K films, 4K steelbooks, digital codes, all kinds of stuff every single month. Also, there's a level where you get access to all of that, plus an exclusive podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger, where you also get to ask questions that we will answer on every episode of the podcast. And at the final level, you also have the ability, the Chosen of Valhalla level, you have the ability to have all of that, plus in your first month, get a free t-shirt of your choice, any color, sent anywhere in the world, and also you get to be featured once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream featured on the main channel. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check out the link in the description. You're all amazing and beautiful people. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.